Number 4, Kill Jigsaw from the Jigsaw Blogs. So right now we have Jacob back on the channel to talk about not only his last pitch on this list, but also the one, probably the one here that's just the most detailed out of anybody's. So Jacob, how are you today?
Doing pretty good. Like I say, I've been enjoying SAW-Tober this last couple days, and I'm looking forward to getting out. Arguably, probably one of the coolest things I've done as far as all these pitches. If you get a chance to check it out, go to my YouTube channel. I'm starting a new series called Sawscription, where if you've seen my other videos already from this list already, go ahead and check them out. But those are kind of like, rough draft, put yourself in front of the camera and just talk about it. Well, this picture idea is the similar idea of what I want to do with those pitches down the long run. And this one episode right here of Kill Jigsaw, I go into exact details, script layout, picture layout, storyboards, everything. And so this is kind of what the idea I want to do with my pitches going forward. So expect the other pitches to turn into Sawscriptions, but for right now I'm really excited to talk about this pitch right here called Kill Jigsaw.
And yeah, pretty much like all the other pitches that we've been talking about over the course of the last few days, this one again gives a lot of love to Logan, but it also brings in John to probably the most of any other pitches that we're going to be talking about during this particular SAW-Tober. So could you start us off, because I think it's an interesting story. Could you start us off on why you decided to have this particular pitch?
Well, actually, I wrote this pitch way back in 2018, because 2018 and 2019 on Reddit. So if you actually were really going details, you can find my username on Reddit and check it out. And I actually posted it on there because the rumors were going around that the next working title for the Saw film was called Kill Jigsaw. And it was rumored to have like very Tobin heavy. Matt Passamore was going to come back, and the supposedly rumored title was the main character of the story would have to kill Jigsaw in order to survive their game, and Jigsaw will be alive, active, and present in full force during an actual game throughout the entire movie. And I thought, you know what, that pitch could work. But then when Chris Rock came on board, that pitch kind of got put aside, and they may go back to it with this next film, which is now rumored to be Tobin Bell-centric, but it's an idea I thought, what can I do with just that idea alone, okay? So your main character's goal is to kill Jigsaw in order to win their game, and Tobin's the main focus of the film, along with your other main character. And that's kind of where this idea originated from.
And kind of going directly off of that, I feel like you have a pretty significant casting. Like, I think you and I are the only ones who specifically cast an actor to play a very prominent role in the movie in order to kind of get a point across. Do you want to go into that a little bit more?
Yeah, so the main actor I chose to play the character Dax is Ben Barnes. Ben Barnes from the Westworld, and more specifically from the Punisher TV series. I'm a fan of the Marvel TV shows. I like Daredevil, I love Jessica Jones, I love the Punisher TV series. But when I was watching that show, I thought Ben Barnes did a really good job playing Billy Russo, also known as Jigsaw from the comic books. And I thought, if they were going to incorporate the Matt Passamore character with Logan coming back into this film, I thought, how cool would it be to bring in, Ben Barnes into this story and have him play a character similar to Billy Russo in the Punisher TV series. And then, like I said in the pitch, how cool would it be to have a Jigsaw versus Jigsaw in film? So just to have that on top of that in general, and just to have that story, we see Ben Barnes, how great he could play in a military role. You see how he could handle, depression and PTSD. And I thought that could really work, and that's kind of similar to what the story of Logan was going for. So why not create a character in this movie that Logan is familiar with, but also John's trying to test? And that's essentially what the story revolves around. The story of the Ben Barnes character named Dax, who is one of Logan's former military aides out when he was in Fallujah, and we find out they were partners in the military, and they were soldiers, and they both got captured together by the Taliban. And so there's a connection between Dax and Logan. And then you can see, John trying to test Dax, and in the same way, he's also testing Logan through this film as well.
We've gotten a couple of comments on this when it comes to SAW-Tober, people's reaction to Logan as a character. And this is something that you and I have talked about over the last couple of days, where you were the only one who had kind of the stomach to take what they did with Logan after Jigsaw and try to explore him a little bit more, use him as a focal point in a lot of your pitches. I like the idea of going back to Logan's days in the war zone, his capture, the torture that he went through, and kind of using that as a backdrop for his relationship with John, as well as any other character that he's going to meet or has any acquaintance to in the future of the series. As we've talked about, you have these characters that feel a lot more lived in. Logan is a family man. He's this veteran war hero, captured, survived, came and made a better person of himself. There's just a lot there. And I feel like there's very few characters in the Saw universe that kind of live up to that type of a person. This person who has so much world building that could possibly go into him. And it's just so weird to me that nobody, myself included, latched on to him, and so many people in the comments kind of come across the same way that we feel, like, what do you do with Logan and how do you utilize him? I think a lot of that is the way they left him in Jigsaw, in a really weird, awkward position, having framed someone but killed them all over the place, that his alibi knows that they're there. It's why you blew up the barn. It's why I blew up the barn. There's just a lot there, right?
Right, exactly. And I get why people don't like Logan. I get that because, the ending of Jigsaw left them flustered. It's like, really? Another apprentice? Like, Logan's boring. I can't get into Logan. Like, I see the comments, and I get people's opinions, and I can respect that. Like, if he doesn't do it for you, that's fine, but I can understand that. I can understand people's frustrations with the character of Logan. But to me, this is what you could do with Logan, and that's what makes it so more interesting.
The last thing I want to talk about here is one of the things that you and I discussed heavily before you started writing this pitch back in 2018 is this would be John's last movie, Tobin Bell's last movie as John Kramer, the Jigsaw killer in the series, and kind of a send-off to him. Do you want to touch on that a little bit more?
Well, obviously, I would love for Tobin to go on for as long as he can, as long as he's able to, but to me, we haven't seen a solid, performance from Tobin Bell, from an entire movie since Saw 3. So you can argue Saw 6 to an extent. To me, I would love to see, just one more time, give Tobin the chance to go out the way he wants to go out. How does Tobin want to go out? To me, Saw 3D really left it kind of sour. And even, he doesn't show up in Jigsaw until, the hour mark of the movie is when he finally shows up in the film. But to me, if you see him through an entire movie, and we get to see Tobin finally, be the character of John Kramer, and actually see, what would John Kramer do in a game that he designed and he's a part of. I would see, make John, because there's a great quote from the commentary from Lee Wanell that John is no greater than the game itself. That's why he does his final test, because he's no bigger than the game himself. And he even himself was missing one final piece.
I agree with that. This is kind of one of those awkward horror franchises where they can market the final chapter, they can end it as many times as they want, but you could probably get the same fanfare by saying, hey, the icon stepping down. This isn't, Jason, where you didn't get Kane Hodder until number 6. I guess Freddy Krueger, you have the last one of Freddy Krueger, but that was Freddy versus Jason, which was a big thing, but we didn't know that was going to be his last, slash of the character at the time. Or maybe you got that with other people. I'm not entirely sure. But John, he is the focal point. He's the icon. He's the person that everyone's going to come out and see and is like Jigsaw's last film. And it's not even a lie. It's like Tobin Bell, the icon, he's coming in. Come watch it because he's not coming into any more. That would get people's attention.
Like I say, if he wants to go out the way he wants to, just let him at this point, because look what all he's done for this franchise. And I think the producers know it, and that's why I'm really excited to hear that their next idea, they fully 100% agree to bring Tobin back. So whichever pitch they decide to go with, I'm going to go for it, and we're going to sit back and grab some popcorn, and I'll be first in theaters to watch it.
I agree. So, guys, we're going to leave it at that. Like I say every time, go down to the description section below. Go hit that link to go subscribe to the Jigsaw Blogs, while also going and seeing exactly what the pitch is made of. Seriously, guys, this one, if you've skipped them all, mine, Jacob's, and pretty much all the other ones, this one is definitely one to go watch. This was, I believe, the top of my list in terms of all the other ones that we have here. So, guys, I hope everyone's having a fantastic day. It's been real.